Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting revision video for CA Intercorporate and Other Laws with me, CA Preeti Aggarwal. In these revision sessions, we are revising not only the provisions but also the important keywords, phrases, sentences, section numbers which you have to write in the exam to get good marks. In case you have missed the earlier sessions, I'm leaving a link here. You can watch all the chapters which we have revised till now. Before proceeding, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so that you get notifications for all the upcoming revision videos. Alright students, let's get started. In my earlier session, I had discussed registers, returns, place of maintenance, inspection, and we had also covered the types of meetings, annual general meeting, extraordinary meeting, class meeting. In today's session, we are going to cover the remaining provisions of management and administration. I had started with management and administration chapter in my earlier session, covered half of it, and today now we are going to continue with the remaining half. In case you have missed the earlier session, link is already provided to you. You can go and watch the previous video. Let's discuss notice section 101. Now, when you want to call a meeting, it is important for the company to give a notice to the members so that they can come attend the meeting. They can make provisions for traveling and coming to the place of meeting. So law requests the company to give a notice at least 21 clear days before the meeting. Okay, so we have to give a 21 clear days notice. So any annual general meeting, be it AGM, EGM, it is called by the board of directors. Okay, so it has to be called by the board. What if the notice is given only by a single director? Will that be accepted? No. But can it be ratified by all the directors? Yes. So this can be asked as a case-based question. Individual director does not have the authority, but if he ends up calling the meeting, then we can later ratify the same, and the meeting will be called, the notice will be considered valid and as if it has been provided by the entire board. Now, why do we need to give 21 clear days? See, you can't expect the members to turn up at the meeting if you inform them just 2 days in advance. So law requires that the notice must be given in either writing or electronic mode. If it is given by electronic mode, there are certain provisions given in Rule 18. Now, if you're sending the notice by email, then you can either send it as a text, that is, write it in the space that is provided to you in the email, or you can send it as an attachment, or maybe a URL, that is a link, so that when the link is clicked, the notice opens up. Email will be addressed to the person who has provided his email ID, but there are many people who do not provide the email ID. So every year we will keep some window open so that you can either update your email ID provided, or you can provide a new email ID. And if you have provided the email ID, only then we will send the email. If you have not provided the details, then you cannot blame the company for not sending you an email for the notice. The subject line in the email will contain many details like what is the name of the company, the notice of the type of meeting, the place, date, etc. Now, say for example, you are calling the 36th annual general meeting. So in the subject line, you will say 36th annual general meeting of XYZ Limited on, you will mention the date and you will mention at Mumbai. Okay, so that date, place, the type of meeting, name of the company, everything will be mentioned in the subject line so that anyone who does not even read the notice will at least come to know that there is a meeting. The company will send the email either through the in-house facility, they have a compliance department, or through my registrar and transfer agent, or they may use the services of a third-party agency providing the bulk email facility. Okay, you cannot blame the company. This is very important for case-based question. The company will not be held liable if it transmits the email, but the shareholder is complaining that he did not receive the email. So maybe that was some technical error, or your inbox was full. Sometimes the error is beyond the control of the company. In that case, you cannot blame the company. Please highlight this as important for case-based question. Okay. What are the contents of notice? It will contain the date, time, place of the meeting, what is going to be discussed in the meeting. This is very important for case-based question. You need to give at least 21 clear days of notice. But how many days prior to the meeting should we dispatch this notice? So law says that 2 days you will require for 2 days, post will require to reach the destination. So 2 days of posting will be added. 1 day, that is the day on which he receives the notice. I want complete, clear, full days. But let's say that he received the notice at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. So that day is wasted. So the day of service of notice will be added, and the day of meeting, 1 day of meeting will also be added. So considering all this, we need to dispatch the notice at least 25 days before the meeting so that we have 21 clear days. This is very important for exam. What if I want to call the meeting by giving a shorter notice? So law requires me to give 21 clear days of notice, but what if I want to call a meeting very urgently? I don't have 21 days. I want to call it by giving just 10 days of notice. If you're calling an annual general meeting, then consent of not less than 95% of the members entitled to vote. So if there are 100 members and all are entitled to vote, if 95% of the members, that is 95 members, they give their consent, then in that case you can call a shorter notice. But if you're calling any other meeting like the extraordinary general meeting, then this is important for us. You need to highlight this. If the company has share capital, okay, these are the keywords. Company has share capital, then there are two requirements. It's a dual requirement. The members who are majority in number, it means if there are 100 members, okay, say for example there are 100 members, then majority means 50%. So at least 51 and above. Plus, okay, and this is and who represent not less than 95% of the such paid up share capital that gives them the right to vote. Say for example the paid up share capital that gives them the right to vote is rupees 10,000. Holding at least 95%, it means that these 51 or more members should hold at least 9,500, that is 95% of the total paid up capital. So this is a dual requirement. Both the conditions have to be satisfied. You need to have more than 51 members, 51 or more members, and they should also hold 95% of the paid up share capital, which gives them the right to vote. If the company does not have share capital, so this is my second keyword, if it does not have share capital, then holding at least 95% of the total voting power. Who is entitled to receive the notice? So yes, every member of the company. This includes equity as well as preference shareholders. Even preference shareholders are entitled to receive the notice of the meeting. They can even attend the meeting, but they cannot vote on the meeting unless the resolution concerns them as preference shareholders. The legal representative of the deceased, the official assignee of the insolvent member, auditor and auditors, and every director of the company. This every director includes independent director, whole-time director, nominee director, additional director, woman director. Every director, they will have the right to receive the notice. They have the right to go and attend the meeting. What if I by mistake do not give notice because I thought maybe you are not a member? Okay, so that will invalidate the meeting. That is not a ground. Acha, you are a member, that will not be considered as a valid notice, but it was a genuine mistake. There are two persons whose name is Ritesha. Okay, there are two persons. Let me write it over here. There are two persons named Ritesha. Now I sent notice to one Ritesha, and coincidentally they both live in the same locality. So I sent notice to one Ritesha, but when I was addressing the notice to another, I thought, I have already sent this notice. I did not dispatch it to the other person. That was genuinely my mistake. It was not intentional. So such non-receipt or accidental omission, that will not invalidate the proceedings. But what if I say, acha, you are a member, I didn't know that, that will definitely invalidate the meeting. It will not be considered as a valid notice. He can challenge the resolutions passed. Now, in case of meeting, there are two types of businesses which are transacted. We have the ordinary business, okay, ordinary business, and we have special business, okay. Ordinary business is discussed only in the annual general meeting. Business in every other meeting will always be special business. In the AGM also you can have special business, but ordinary business is discussed only in the annual general meeting. Now, let's say that I've given a notice informing the members that I'm going to issue sweat equity shares. Immediately their mind will start racing with numerous questions. Whom are you issuing these shares? At what price are you issuing? Have you consulted a valuer? What is the consideration other than cash? Are you issuing at a discount? There are so many questions which they will ask. If I don't inform them, or if I don't provide that additional information, they will come in the meeting and everything will be discussed in the meeting. A lot of time will be wasted. So law says that in case of any special business, something that you don't discuss every time, for this you also provide an explanatory statement that will be annexed, that will be attached to the notice. This is covered under section 102. The entire theory is important, and you need to learn all this by heart. Okay, you need to learn, actually sit and learn it. So for ordinary business, you already know what is going to be discussed because it is discussed in every AGM. But for special business, you need to give an explanatory statement because this is a business which is not going to be discussed every time. In this notice, you will give extra information about to whom are we issuing sweat equity, all the material facts that will help the members to take an important decision whether they want to vote in favor or against the resolution. You will also provide the nature of concern or interest, maybe financial or otherwise, of every director, manager, KMP, and their relatives. So, if they're interested in the transaction, you will also mention that yes, it is their interest. If you fail to mention their interest and they earn profit, then they will have to return that profit. They will have to account for that profit to the company. Any other extra material information which will help the members to take an informed decision. Now, let's say, for example, that I am company A and the promoter of my company holds 10% of the capital of company X. Now, in this case, the promoter is holding more than 2%, okay, more than 2% of the paid up share capital of that other company. And if I'm entering into a contract with this company, then the details will have to be mentioned in the notice that our promoter holds more than 2%. Just a disclosure is required. We want to highlight his interest. So we will also set out a statement that more than 2% of the paid up capital is held by our promoter in that company and we are planning to enter into a transaction with company X. So that was all about notice. And the key points, the most important provision in notice is 21 days, that is the calculation, and explanatory statement you have to buy hard. If you go through my compiler, you will notice that there are many questions asked on section 102 explanatory statement. Next, let us discuss the concept of quorum, section 103. Now, quorum refers to the minimum number of members required to be present to constitute a meeting. If imagine there are 10,000 members in your company and only 2 attend the meeting, can you allow just 2 members to take decisions for majority? No, that's not possible. How can you allow minority to decide things for majority? So we require minimum certain number of members present throughout the meeting. Okay, they have to be present at the beginning of the meeting so that we can commence the meeting. They also have to be present throughout the meeting and at the time the resolutions are passed. So it refers to the minimum number. This is the keyword, minimum number of members who are required to be present. It means they should be physically, okay, they should be physically present in the meeting. Now, what about quorum for a public company? Okay, if you are a public company, then law is very clear. The limit given by the act or articles, okay, limit given by the act or articles, whichever is higher. So as per the act, if you have 1,000 or less than 1,000 members, then 5 members personally present is quorum. 1,000 to 5,000, 15, and more than 5,000, it is 30 members. They have to be personally present. Now, this number will be calculated as on the date of meeting. If I talk about a private company, then just 2 members, okay, just 2 members personally present, or articles, if they specify a higher number, whichever is higher, that will be considered as quorum. So the first check in the question will be to know whether it is a private company or a public company, because the quorum will be determined accordingly. So that is the first thing which you need to see when you solve the questions. What if there were 22 members in the company? Okay, 22 members in the company, and the quorum was set to, let's say, for example, 10 members personally present. All these 22 members, they were traveling, they met with an accident. Now only 8 members survived. Okay, only 8 members survived. My quorum requirement is 10 and only 8 members survived. Now the number of members remaining in the company is below quorum. Then for the meeting, which is immediately after this accident, for the meeting, all these 8 members personally present will be considered as quorum. It will be valid quorum when all are personally present. Okay, so when all are present, all 8 members, then later on, yes, you may add more members, or you may alter the articles and reduce the number of quorum. That is later, but for the meeting which is already, immediately after that incident, if all are present, then it is quorum. What if quorum is not present? See, quorum must be present throughout the meeting, but what if it is not present? We will wait for half an hour. We will wait for 30 minutes for latecomers. Okay, we will wait for half an hour for latecomers. Then, if it is a meeting which is called by requisitionists, okay, this was an extraordinary meeting called by the requisitionist. You call the meeting and you don't attend the meeting, this meeting will be cancelled. It will not be adjourned. But what about other meetings like annual general meeting or extraordinary meeting called by directors? Yes, in this case, it will be adjourned. where this is important for exam, to the same day, same time, same place next week, but it is not possible for me to find another place in such short notice. So law says that such other day, time, place as may be determined by the board. Now in a place like Mumbai, you will not find the same room, same hall available in the same day, same time, same place next week. So then it's fine if you go to some other place. What about adjourned meeting? Now the members are not present in the original meeting. They are not present in the adjourned meeting. We won't adjourn it further. The number of members present will be quorum. Adjourned meeting cannot be postponed. It cannot be adjourned further. The number of members present will be considered as quorum. Then we have provisions relating to corporate or institutional members. Yes, now let's say for example that the person is appointed by a president of India or governor of state. Okay, now the person appointed by the president of India or the governor of state. Now president of India, he holds shares. Okay, he holds shares on behalf of central government, and governor of state holds shares on behalf of state government. Okay, now they are not going to go and attend the meeting. They have appointed someone else, and that representative will go and attend the meeting. It is as if the member is present. That representative will have all the rights of member. He also has the right to vote at the meeting and also appoint a proxy. Important for exam. Now company A and company B, they both have authorized Mr. X to go and attend the meeting. So Mr. X will be counted twice in quorum, Okay. So once for A and other for B. This is important for case-based question. This theory is important for case-based question. The quorum must be present throughout the meeting. Okay. Then yes, these are also important. Now you have attended the meeting by remote e-voting. You can come attend the meeting. You can't vote again, but you will be counted for quorum. Person who is not entitled to vote because he is a related party, even then you will be considered in quorum. You are not voting, that doesn't matter. That was all about quorum. Now let us discuss the provisions relating to chairman. Students, over here you need to remember that you are discussing the provisions relating to chairman of the meeting and not chairman of the company. Chairman of the meeting is elected from among the members who are present. Initially they will all select the chairman by show of hands, unless a poll is demanded or we are voting electronic, unless a poll is demanded. Now unless the articles provide otherwise, in case the articles provide for some other method of selecting the chairman, then we will follow that method. Then if the articles are silent, then the members personally present shall by show of hands elect one of them as the chairman. So if your article is specifying some other method, follow that method for appointing the chairman. Otherwise, show of hands. Now there are some members who complain that this is not the correct way of electing a chairman. I have 10,000 votes, but in show of hands, one member, one vote. This is not the correct method. So he has demanded poll. Okay, if the poll is demanded, then the chairman will be selected by poll. Until the result of the poll is declared, chairman by show of hands will continue to remain the chairman. Now, this is very important for us. The chairman will have a casting vote. It means he can vote for the second time, but very important for case-based question, only if it is specifically empowered by the articles. Only if the articles empower you, they give you a second vote, only then you can cast your second vote. If it is absent, then in that case the chairman will be entitled to just one vote. Now when will this provision be useful? In case I am passing an ordinary resolution, I need the consent of majority. What if the votes in favor of the resolution are equal to the votes which are against the resolution? This can arise in case of ordinary resolution. Then if the votes are equal, the chairman will get to cast a second vote. And if there is no such provision in the articles, chairman will not be able to cast a second vote. And if there is equality of voting, then if there is no second vote of the chairman, then the resolution will be dropped. Okay, that will not be passed. Important for case study question. Next we have proxy. Proxy has the same meaning which you already know in your college. Now I am not able to attend the meeting, so any other person can go and attend the meeting on my behalf. What happens is that along with the notice, you give an attendance slip and also the proxy form. In the notice, it is mentioned that if you cannot attend the meeting, you have the right to vote. You have the right to also appoint a proxy. Proxy need not be a member. So what will happen in the proxy form? I will fill the name of the person who is attending on my behalf. I will also put a tick on the resolution. A table is given. Member, you give instructions to the proxy. How he is supposed to vote, whether in favor or against a resolution. So that proxy form will contain a list of all the resolutions to be passed in the meeting. You just have to vote whether in favor or against the resolution. And that form will be submitted with the company at least 48 hours before the meeting. The proxy will come vote, but proxy can vote only in case of voting by poll, not by show of hands. Okay, that is because in case of proxy, you don't have the authority to go and speak at the meeting. You cannot vote when there is show of hands. It is possible that a person is holding multiple proxies. Now, I am holding 30 proxies. I cannot vote one for A, other for B, other for C. So, by show of hands, it is not possible when you are holding multiple proxies. But it is possible to vote for multiple people when the voting takes place by show of, by poll. Okay. By poll, yes. So proxy is the name which is given to the person as well as to the form which is filed with the company. The relationship is that of the principal and agent. This is not important. What is important over here is the proxy will not have the right to speak. They cannot participate in the discussion. But yes, they have the right to vote, but only when the voting is conducted by poll. They cannot vote by show of hands. What about postal ballot? That is also a method of voting. See, if you are voting by postal ballot, you need not appoint a proxy, because that person is given the option of casting the vote by postal ballot or at least sending the electronic vote. What if the remote e-voting facility is provided? Even then, proxy need not be appointed, because you are already given an option. If you can't attend, you can vote in the comfort of your home. So proxy will be required only when the voting is conducted by poll. Okay, the proxy must be in writing, can be asked in the exam. It must be writing, it must be signed, it must be stamped. This is very important and it is asked as a case-based question. It must be deposited at least 48 hours before the meeting or a shorter notice as may be specified in the articles. Now, law says you should give the proxy 48 hours, but I am okay if you give only 12 hours before the meeting, and this is also mentioned in the articles. There is no provision for giving longer notice. No, you should always give 72 hours before the meeting. Longer notice will not be valid, but shorter notice is allowed. Okay. In case of Section 8 company, proxy must also be a member. This is important. You cannot hold proxies more than 50 persons, and it's a dual requirement, and they must not hold more than 10% of the total share capital carrying voting rights. But what if I am holding only 2 proxies and my 10% is exhausted? You cannot hold more proxy. What if I'm holding only 1 proxy and he is holding 12%? You cannot hold proxy of any other person. By giving 3 days notice, you can inspect the proxies, but the inspection will start only 24 hours before the meeting. Again, this is important for case-based question. Inspection will actually start only 24 hours before the meeting. It can continue till the conclusion of the meeting. In the notice, we will also mention that a person who is entitled to attend and vote at the meeting is also entitled to appoint a proxy. It will be mentioned in reasonable prominence. It means bold, capital letters. It will be mentioned that in case the member is not able to attend, he can also appoint a proxy, and proxy need not be a member. This will be mentioned. Okay, this is very interesting. This is interesting. What if I appointed 2 proxy? I am Mr. X and I appointed A and B as my proxy. The one who's appointed later in time shall prevail. But I must also ensure that the proxy is lodged at least 48 hours before the meeting. Now, this proxy was lodged 48 hours. This was lodged on the date of meeting. Even though he was appointed later in time, the previous one will prevail because it was lodged 48 hours before the meeting. Important for case-based question. What if X appointed a proxy P and then both attended the meeting? X will be entitled to vote. Proxy will automatically be revoked. But the proxy has already voted. Then the member will not be allowed to vote. So that was about proxy. Restriction on voting right, section 106. Can I restrict a member from voting? Can I tell him, no, you can vote only if you hold the shares for at least 2 months. After that, we will allow you to vote. No, if my name is mentioned in the register of members, I am entitled to vote even though I have recently purchased shares. But your articles can mention certain circumstances, certain situations wherein the company may restrict the voting rights of member. They are mostly related to non-payment. So non-payment of calls, non-payment of any other sum, when the company has exercised the right of lien on shares. Only and only for these reasons I can restrict, and restriction will be valid only when it is mentioned in the articles. Articles are silent. Even for these reasons, I cannot restrict a member from voting. Okay, so what are the keywords over here? The articles should allow, and the company cannot, except on these grounds, restrict a person from voting. Okay, so these are important provisions for exam and for case based questions. Then let us discuss the types of voting. First is voting by show of hands. This is the most favorite method of voting. The voting will first be conducted by show of hands unless a poll is demanded or the voting is conducted electronically. If a poll is demanded in section 109, then we will conduct the voting accordingly. And if it is conducted electronically by under section 108, then yes, it doesn't mean that you cannot attend the meeting. You can come attend the meeting, but voting will be taken by other methods for the members who are present and who have not voted remotely. Okay, in case of voting by show of hands, the chairman will just mention that I have conducted voting by show of hands, and he need not even specify the votes in favor or against the resolution. The fact that the voting was conducted, that is enough for us. We don't want proof. Then what about voting by electronic mode? Now, who has the time to go and attend the meeting? I don't have the time to travel to the place, and meeting is held on weekdays. I can't leave office. So for such people and also for minority shareholders, this is a boon. In case you are a listed company or you are a company having 1,000 or more members, okay, more than equal to 1,000, then you will have to provide the facility. Okay, it's a facility to vote on resolutions by electronic means. Now, what is the difference between postal ballot? Many students get confused. What is the difference between postal ballot and voting by electronic means, that is remote e-voting? Okay, so what is the difference between postal ballot and remote e-voting? See, in case of postal ballot, you need not hold the general meeting. You only conduct voting. Voting may be either through postal ballot or it may be electronic. Okay, for people who don't even have time to go and put the post in the post box. And this can be done electronically also. In case of remote e-voting, the meeting is held. Okay, here you can vote either at the meeting, provided you have not voted remotely, or you can vote remotely. Okay, so this is the main difference, that in postal ballot meeting is not called. In remote e-voting you will call the meeting also, but this e-voting is just a facility that you can't attend the meeting, then you can vote electronically. It's just a facility. Now, in the notice, I will have to clearly mention that the company is also providing the voting by electronic means. That will be mentioned in the notice so that people are aware that they can also vote remotely from the comfort of their home. Okay, what about the members who have not voted electronically but would like to come, because we are calling a meeting, they would like to come and vote at the meeting? So for them, we will also provide voting by maybe by electronic voting system like Insta poll, or we will distribute ballot or polling paper. So members who have already voted, they can also attend the meeting, but they can't vote again. Members who have not voted remotely can attend the meeting. They can vote through different methods. Now, what will happen in this case? We will also publish in the newspaper that, see, we have sent a notice, but in case you have not received the notice of the meeting because you have not updated your address with us, you have not provided email address properly. So we will also publish in the newspaper that people come to know that, there is a meeting, and this notice in the newspaper will also be published 21 days before the general meeting. It is going to mention a lot of details like how to obtain your login ID password, what is the cutoff date. Now, cutoff date means that if your name is mentioned in the register of members as on the cutoff date, you will be entitled to receive the notice and attend the meeting, vote at the meeting. If your name is not there in the register as on the cutoff date, then you cannot vote at the meeting. Remote e-voting will not be allowed beyond the time period. This is very important, that remote e-voting will be open for at least 3. Okay, it will remain open for at least 3 days, and it will close on the previous day at 5 p.m. So let's say my meeting is on 6th of April. Okay, 6th of April. Then the voting will start at least 3 days prior to this, and it will close on 5th April at 5 p.m. Beyond this time, I will not accept any vote. Then what will happen? You can come attend the meeting and you can vote at the meeting, but this voting will be closed. Once the member has voted, he cannot vote again at the meeting. He cannot even go and change his vote at the meeting. A scrutinizer will be appointed Who will ensure that the voting is conducted in a fair and transparent manner? Who can be appointed as scrutinizer? Any person who is independent, who is a practicing chartered accountant, company secretary, CS, who is not an employment of the company, someone who is independent, okay, he will maintain a record of the votes that have been cast at the meeting. He will unlock the votes which were cast remotely. He will add up, he will prepare a report, he will submit it to the chairman will sign it, and he will publish it on the website. And the scrutinizer will give him whatever papers, polling papers he has for the meeting that he conducted, voting that he conducted during the meeting. So it's a nicely written process which you just need to learn. Okay, then you will maintain a register. Scrutinizer will maintain a register either physically, manually or electronically. He will mention the details about the member. The results will be published on the website. The date on which the resolution will be passed on the date of the relevant meeting. Just an extra point. Resolution which was proposed by electronic voting cannot be withdrawn. Okay. Then we have demand for poll. See, voting by show of hands is not giving you the correct or accurate result. So any member says that this is not the right way of voting. See, in case of voting by show of hands, one member, one vote. But in case of poll, it depends upon your share in the paid up capital. So this is a better method of voting and also beneficial for people who own more number of shares in the company, so they can exercise more voting power. So if a poll is demanded, now if one member comes and demands a poll, we will not listen. But if the poll is demanded, either chairman may on its own decide, yeah, we need to conduct by poll, this is not the correct method of voting. Chairman can on his own also decide to conduct voting by poll, or it may be on request of certain number of members. Now, either before, this is important for us, all this is asked in the theory question. If you refer my compiler, students, it's a detailed question bank. You will find that the question on demand for poll has been asked many times in the exam, and they always start with this paragraph. So you need to learn all this. This is very important. Mostly questions are asked on this part only. From here till here, questions are generally asked on this part. Now, who will have to give request? If you are a company having share capital, then the members either in person or proxy. Now, please note, person or proxy. This is also very important for case based question. Again, refer my compiler. You will find the kind of questions that are asked. Can a proxy also demand poll? Yes, proxy can also demand poll. So either a person who's present in person or proxy, having not less than 1/10 of the total voting power, or holding a sum on which at least 5 lakhs has been paid, or a higher amount, nothing has been prescribed. So if this amount has been paid up, either you are holding 1/10, that is 10% of the paid up capital, or aggregate on which share capital on which 5 lakhs has been paid up, you can request for poll. If your company does not have share capital, okay, any other company not having share capital, again, a person who's either present in person or proxy, important for case based question, and holding not less than 1/10 of the total voting power, they can demand for poll. This is also asked in questions. The demand may be withdrawn at any time by the person who made it. I made the demand for poll. Now I want to withdraw it. Can I withdraw? Yes. Again, important for case based question. You will find many such questions in my compiler. You can refer that. Okay. So this is the procedure in which the poll, you will again appoint a scrutinizer. He will distribute. I'm just revising it with you. Okay. We will appoint a scrutinizer, again independent person, etc. He will distribute the polling paper. In the polling paper, already a list of the resolution is mentioned. You just have to tick whether you want to vote in favor or against the resolution. They will show a box. See, it is empty. Then they will lock it. Then when the polling paper is received, they will put their initial. They will put it in the box. After everyone has voted, they will unlock the box. They will count the votes in favor and against the resolution. There are some votes which may not be valid. So then they will prepare a report that these were the votes we received. This was valid, not valid, votes in favor, against the resolution. They will prepare a report and they will give it to the chairman. Chairman will sign it and he will declare the result of the voting. Voting by postal ballot, this is important. These are the resolutions which have to be passed by postal ballot only. As I mentioned, no general meeting is conducted in case of voting by postal ballot. General meeting is not held. You can vote. They will send you a postal ballot. The address of the company, the postage is already paid. You just have to tick whether you want to vote in favor or against the resolution. Put it in the red post box. If you don't want to do that, you can also vote electronically. Method of obtaining your login ID password is already mentioned in the notice. These are few resolutions on which you have to conduct voting by postal ballot only. But if I already have a system set for remote e-voting, then even for these resolutions, I can conduct voting electronically. Okay, that option has been given. So you can conduct under section 108 also. Circulation of members resolution. Certain members holding minimum 1/10 of the paid up share capital carrying voting rights. If my company does not have share capital, then minimum 1/10 of the members having voting power. They can tell the company that, listen, you're calling AGM na. Please discuss this resolution also. Discuss. I want you to consider this and pass this resolution. Welcome. We have received a notice. We want to give special comments, information, etc. on certain items of the resolution. You can give a statement. We will distribute that to the members. Now, the requisition which requires notice must be given at least 6 weeks before the meeting. Then we will propose that in the meeting. That resolution will be discussed. If we receive the votes, it may be passed. If you are giving a statement, then that statement should be received by the company at least 2 weeks before the meeting, so that we can discuss and read it out in the meeting. What if I got a proposed resolution from the member, I don't want to discuss it? Then immediately I call the annual general meeting, and there is no gap between receipt or requisition and annual general meeting of 6 weeks. You did that on purpose. You got my requisition. You called the meeting. You did not ensure that there was 6-week gap, because see, I didn't want to discuss it. So I called the meeting earlier than I had planned. Then in that case, we will consider that the notice is properly given. The member also has a right to give some statement. In the statement, he wrote something very bad about a person, defamatory about a person. Either the company or that aggrieved party can approach the central government and make them read. See, this we can't read in the meeting. Then in that case, the central government may say that you are only trying to secure needless publicity. We will not read out this statement. It does not contain correct information. Okay. So this we have already discussed. This question is important, that in case of president or governor, they can appoint a person, and that representative will have the same rights of a member. He can also vote by proxy and postal ballot. So you can also, that representative can also appoint a proxy. They are representing the president or the governor. Similarly, corporations can also appoint another person to attend the meeting. Then we have minutes of the meeting. Okay, no, the resolutions requiring special notice. Okay. Now, this is also important for case-based question. If I want to propose a resolution for not appointing this auditor, appoint that other person, not this. All right, the company was planning to reappoint the same auditor, but you are saying, no, appoint someone else, not this. Appoint anyone but him. All right, give us a special notice. We won't appoint him. Declaring to remove a director before the expiry or to appoint someone else. Under these circumstances, give us a special notice. We need only request from members holding at least 1%, not 1/10, 1% of the voting power or shares on which at least 5 lakhs has been paid up. If these people give request, then we will definitely consider it. So these are items which require resolutions which require special notice. Otherwise, we will reappoint that person if he is eligible to be reappointed as our auditor. What is the date on which we will consider that an adjourned resolution is passed? Now, meeting was adjourned. Resolutions were passed on the adjourned date. So what should be considered? The date of the original meeting or the date of the adjourned meeting as the date of passing the resolution? The date on which it is actually passed, that is the date of the adjourned meeting, will be considered as the date of resolution. Okay. These are resolutions which have to be filed with ROC. You just have to learn the items. Yes, these are the resolutions. Like special resolution will always be filed with ROC in MGT 14 within 30 days of passing the resolution. There are other agreements also, resolutions also, which have to be filed with ROC. You just need to learn that. Minutes, very important. But in this, what is most important? See, you already know what are minutes. What is most important? Signing and contents, that also minutes should not contain. Very, very important. For example, you have to learn this. You have to learn this. Okay, learn this by heart. Now, signing of minutes. Minutes must be signed by the chairman of the meeting. But if he is not available or he died, he went out of country, then in that case, if you are holding a board meeting, if you have held a board meeting or a committee meeting, then anyways, you are going to meet every quarter. So chairman of the either same, but if he is not available, then next meeting, because we know we are again going to meet. What if you are holding a general meeting chairman of the same meeting. See, okay, chairman of the same meeting. But what if he is not available? See, if it is annual general meeting, we can't wait for the next meeting. It will happen next year. EGM, I don't know when it will happen. Then immediately the board will call a meeting. They will pass a board resolution, authorize a director, and that director will then sign the minutes. Minutes should not contain the matter which, in the opinion of the chairman, is either defamatory, irrelevant, immaterial, or detrimental to the company's interest. Everything is keyword over here. Everything is important. What is to be included and what is to be excluded is left to the absolute discretion of the chairman. If he feels that no, we should not write this, this is against the interest of the company. No, you are maligning the interest of the person. We should not write this. It is left to his absolute discretion. He will decide what is to be included and what is to be excluded. Very important for case-based question. Yes, 118. Okay, section 118 talks about maintenance of minutes. And section 119 talks about inspection of minutes. Who can inspect the minutes? Again, very important for exam. Firstly, where are minutes kept? At the registered office. They will be open for inspection by members. Very important. Open for inspection by members. When? During business hours, at least allow 2 hours in a day. Without any charge. Very important. So what are the important words? Open to members during business hours without any charge. Minutes are not open to any other person. Okay. The inspection can be carried out only by the members, not director, creditor, or any other person. If you want a copy, you will get a copy within 7 days. We will charge you not more than 10 rupees per page. Soft copy you will get free of cost, that too for last 3 financial years. Alright. Then we have report to be prepared on annual general meeting. Section 121 can be asked as a short note. This is just applicable for listed companies, not for all the companies. Here we only want a confirmation that the annual general meeting was called, held, who attended, what were the resolutions passed, was the quorum present, was it adjourned, etc. Was the place changed? We just want a report that the annual general meeting was held. If we are giving this report, do we need to prepare the minutes? Yes, you will have to prepare minutes also. This is in addition to the minutes. Applicability of this chapter to OPCC, one-person company. What will he discuss with himself? So in this case, the provisions relating to calling of AGM by the tribunal, power of tribunal to call the extraordinary general meeting. Then section 100 to 111, that is EGM, notice, explanatory statement, quorum, proxy, all that will not apply to one-person company. So what will he do? See, in case of annual general meeting or extraordinary general meeting, you can't come and just talk to yourself and hold the meeting. Just inform the company, okay, communicate the resolution to the company, enter in the minutes book, sign and date the minutes book. It will be assumed that you have called the meeting, you have held the meeting. So just come, communicate to the company, this is my resolution, enter in the minutes book, date and sign. The date on which you enter in the minutes will be considered as if that was the date of the meeting. Same goes for board meeting, but that is applicable only in case of company having just one director. If you have 2 or more directors in OPC, then yes, then you can conduct the board meeting. But if you have only one director, what will he discuss with himself? In that case, the resolution will be communicated, it will be entered in the minutes book, it will be dated and signed. Such date will be considered as the date of the board meeting for all the purpose of this act. And with this, we have finally come to an end of the chapter. Now, I have also highlighted the keyword sentences, but I have also informed you the type of questions which can be asked, the provisions which are important for case-based question. You will find the questions in my compiler. You can purchase it from my website, capreetiaggarwal.com. I will begin a new chapter in my next session. So before that, hit the bell icon and subscribe to this channel. Also visit my website, capreetiaggarwal.com for books, lectures, test series and revision podcast.